Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I was gone most of Friday. I was at my computer to record if there was an offer, and what do you know, when I went into the store, there was an offer. And so, my goal in doing these videos, because if I really wanted to take my time and break everything down, maybe penny by penny, and who knows, maybe some people would like that, it could be like a 15-20 minute video. And my goal is to keep videos at around 5 minutes. Sometimes if there's more that I need to say, it's maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes, but certainly not 10 minutes. And so I maybe, you could say, rushed a little bit that video that I put out yesterday about the math, comparing the value of this to the daily special, which is how I see things through the lens. I promised you all now I would look at every offer through both the lens of the daily special, and for that matter, for units, because of course free-to-play players can't spend a penny on any cash offer. The units with the new Catalyst store, particularly for people like Thronebreaker and above who have access to such cheap Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 basic Catalyst fragments. So I put out the video, and then I went to my office and did about 5 hours worth of work to prepare my classes for Monday, and got home exhausted, came on a live stream, and I hadn't checked my messages all day. And I was asked, Prof, DNA3000 called you out. Are you going to respond? Which is like what people say when they want to get their popcorn ready and like see people go at it. And look, I've been doing this now for 5 years. I'm not saying my math is always great. I'm not saying that my videos are always great. I'm going to tell you what I think in the moment, and sometimes it ages really well, and sometimes it ages terribly. But my promise to you is that I'm going to not hold back, for better or for worse. And when I have a good week on YouTube, I have been told by a section of the community that I am a Kabam sycophant that enjoys complaining about them for clicks. And then another part of the community will say, when I've had a good week, that I am now employed by Kabam because I am saying that their offers are too good, and that the value of something like the new daily special is too good, and that I'm contributing to a gambling addiction and I need to get off YouTube. So when I'm ticking off everybody is usually when I have a good week. But I want you all, if you're watching this video and expecting me to defend myself for some, I want you all to remember something about life. One, when you are somebody that contributes to a public media platform, you should not be above criticism. And when criticism stings, there's usually truth to it. And the best thing I can do for my channel, for my subscribers, and for this community is not ignore the criticism, and is not just blindly get sensitive to it and defend it to the point that I don't listen to it. The best thing I can do is check my ego at the door and learn from it. Because although the way that this was presented to me by people both in the live streams and behind closed doors was like, hey, Prof, people are attacking you. You gotta see how much people hate you. That's a really emotional thing to hear. But when you strip the emotion away and you just look at it from the objective point of wanting to improve as a content creator, then growth can happen. And I don't care if I've made 10,000 plus videos and I've been doing this for 5 years. I still have a long way to go to be a better content creator. And no video, even if it's a great video that I've produced previously, guarantees that the next video I make is not going to be trashed. I always tell my students I'm only as good as my next lecture. I can't sit on the lure of a good semester of teaching a video production class, because that might be the best semester ever, and then the next semester might be the worst semester ever. And suddenly, it doesn't matter what I did last month. I feel like a failure, because maybe I am. So I'm going to darken the screen real quick. And when I saw this post, I thought, I want to read this on camera, and I'm going to take my time reading this. I don't care if it's a 20-minute video. I don't know how long this is going to be. I never have a predetermined goal with any video I make. If it's 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. If it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes. So DNA3000. The math in this video is laughable, but I don't think math is the problem. That's the title of it. Now, took my thumbnail. That's fair. Took my sort of title of the video. That's fair. Let's get into this. I need to start by saying that as a rule, I do not single out or directly attack content creators, regardless of whether I agree with them or not. And I'm not doing so here. Whether I agree with their positions or not, in general, I believe that they have the right to express themselves any way they see fit to their audience. And I'm explicitly asking anyone replying to this thread not to attack the messenger. This is about the message. It is something that has been bugging me for a while. And while it is not something unique to this content creator, it is something that is almost signature to their position on the way cash offers should be valued. And this time I felt compelled to examine this particular point of view in detail because it's honestly both weird and mathematically nonsensical. But I believe there's an important idea worth discussing embedded in it. Of course, me being me, I'm going to take the long way to get there, so bear with me. But since this is the long way, I want to state clearly, if you're not going to read the post, don't just slam the content creator I reference because you think I'm about to and you want to join in. That's not what I'm about to do, and neither should you. Well, look, people are going to do that. I think, I've been told behind the scenes that, I'm friends with people, right, who could share one of my videos. Even if it's just like a crystal opening reaction, right? Nothing controversial. It's just me reacting to a video. And, if they see my face, they're automatically banned from the chat. So I get that there is a visceral reaction to my name after 5 years of doing this. I'm thankful that that is not the case for everybody, because then my channel wouldn't have any viewers and my channel wouldn't get support. But I want to say, DNA3000, thank you for starting this post, regardless of where it goes, with something so respectful and objective. This is a really mature, professional way to go into this post. The problem is this video is a ludicrous idea. The idea is if a $30 offer contains 4 things, let's say Tier 2 Alpha, Tier 5 Basic, Tier 5 Class Callus, and Gold, then the offer should contain at least $30 worth of each item. What? I'm not mischaracterizing the video. I've linked it above. Nor is this an isolated incident. This person believes in general an offer for X dollars should contain X dollars worth of every item in it. I don't think most people believe this, but there are people that do, and I often wonder how many came to that conclusion on their own and how many picked it up from YouTube videos. Now, I want to say this right off the bat. This is an extremely fair point. And I could have and should have done a better job of micro-analyzing the offer in those posts. The point I was making about the math being ridiculous wasn't about those specific items. It was assuming that someone only has $30 and they can either buy 6 Thronebreaker daily specials or that offer. I could have worded it a lot better. I probably should have emphasized that more. But if you just zero in on the point that all of that together isn't worth $30 combined, then you're right. That's not a fair characterization of the offer isolated. Because I think, and I've tried saying this in other videos, and I should have said this more in that one, I think a 50% Tier 5 Class Catalyst selector is worth $25 by itself. And I think I did say that we usually see the price of that in a bundle at $50, which is why if you're giving a 50% Tier 5 Class Catalyst Fragment selector for $30 and you can buy 2, then it's $60 for that. Now, of course, my implication with that, though again, I should do a better job, even if the video is a little longer, to say this is that means that everything else is like what I call the fortune cookie at the end of the Chinese food meal. It's a bonus. It's not included in the value. It's a free bonus. And so in that sense, the Tier 2 Alpha, the Tier 5 Basic, and the Gold are a bonus part of the cash offer. And I think that's great. But I still go back and stand by my original premise that for $30, 6 days of the daily special, let's say Monday through Saturday, is a better value for somebody that has a limited amount of money to spend, and especially somebody that can grind for units and take advantage of not spending any cash, because you free-to-play players, videos like this don't matter to you because I don't care if it's $5, you're not going to spend it. You're a free-to-play player. The Catalyst store is a game-changing, positive change that I've done nothing but brag about to Kabam for, regarding how much it's easier to take 6 stars to rank 2 and rank 3, especially now, because for Thronebreaker and Wallet Breaker players, for units, not cash, and for a 7-day reset instead of like a 30-day reset like we see a lot of the best Black ISO store offers, or trade-ins, you can now replenish your Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic. But the idea that in that video I was criticizing because it was 2 Tier 5 Basic for $30 and therefore implying that everything else in the offer was being ignored or didn't have value is a fair point that I need to do a better job of being specific in my future offer grades. Let's take this opportunity to demonstrate how such offers should be analyzed for the benefit of players who may not know and may be misled into thinking the reference position is simple and reasonable. Let's look at this offer in the way it ought to be analyzed economically. We'll presume the player is the highest progression tier Paragon and compare that offer to what a Paragon player could do using the Catalyst store. The correct thing to do is to try to break down the contents of the offer to see what the components are worth and simplify the offer analysis to as small a subset as possible, so the need to estimate value qualitatively is minimized. We start by looking at the 2 things you can buy in the Catalyst store as a Paragon player. Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic cost 60 units per. Tier 5 Basic costs 120 units for half a Catalyst, or 240 units per. So the net cost of 6 Tier 2 Alpha and 2 Tier 5 Basic is 6 times 60, or 2 times 240 for 840 units. In cash terms, assuming we were to buy units in the most efficient way possible, $100 USD is $3,100. We can get about $27.10. Keep in mind, though, what's dangerous about this argument is that it implies that people can afford to spend cash on units, whereas my general argument is people who can spend units thanks to the grind and what they usually get for doing things like the arena and even general questing and not spending cash at all. Because I think this argument is a lot more valid when you're just speaking in terms of cash for units having that 1-to-1 value. The offer costs $30 USD, so if we subtract the Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic from the contents, the relative value from the price, we get a net cost of $2.89 for a 50% Tier 5 class Catalyst selector and 300,000 gold, which is subjectively pretty good value. That's the incremental value being presented to a Paragon player in the offer. And by the way, it's not just Paragon, it's the same offer for Thronebreaker, which the smallest progression for the cutoff of the offer gets the best deal because Thronebreaker players don't have the same value, especially with something like daily crystals that a Paragon player does. And so, like, let's say a Paragon offer, I thought this was a D+, which is what I gave it. I would give this a C+ for Thronebreaker players because you don't have the same basic value, and you also don't have the stamp value after 14 days, or 7 days, of stamps. It's cut in half. However, we need to also consider the case of a player that doesn't buy units in general. There you go. For a player with essentially unlimited units, the Catalyst store Catalyst are practically free. To such a player, the Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic and the cash offer are of far more limited value. The cash offer is then asking for $30 for half a selector and 300k gold, plus some Catalyst you don't really need. That valuation is far worse. Completely agree. So if you're buying units, the cash offer seems great. If you're not buying units, the cash offer seems poor. Essentially what I had said in the video as well. In both cases, this can be analyzed in the same way by adding up the value of the contents and comparing that value to the cost based on the situation of the player. What I'm presenting here is probably so obvious to many readers it barely warrants even mentioning, but for the benefit of those for whom this is not obvious, this is the standard way of judging value economically or mathematically. This isn't something I've made up or that's a matter of debate, agreed. This is just how value is defined. So where does the every item should be more valuable than the cost idea come from? It is so mathematically strange. I believe it's mathematically strange because it isn't a mathematical idea at all. Rather, I believe it is more of an emotional idea. The idea that when you spend cash, every single thing you get in the package should wow you. When you spend $30 USD, you should look at the Tier 2 Alpha in the offer and go, wow. And when you look at the Tier 5 Basic in the offer, you should go, wow. And when you look at the gold, you should go, wow. That's a lot of wows. You aren't buying things, you're buying a feeling. Which I honestly, like that can be that should be the statement of the Marvel Casino of Champions. You're not buying things, you're buying a feeling. Every crystal is code. We don't own our accounts, we're leasing them. Kabam can shut them down or ban us at any point, and we have no ability to do anything, right? So I think this entire game is not about buying things, it's about buying feelings. That's a great way to put it. Should cash offers strive to offer the experience of Christmas morning? Well, sometimes it feels like they do, especially when you've had a hard day. I'm guessing there are some people who think there is some merit to this idea, even if they think the math behind it is broken. So let's set the math aside as simple, indulging. my need to inflict. By the way, I had no idea how long this was, and I get that this is already a 15-minute video, but I promised I would read this, and I'm not going to end this prematurely. I'm going to keep going. Calculation of the forums and discuss the non-mathematical side of this. What would be the consequence of requiring offers to wow everyone with the totality of their contents? In my opinion, mostly bad. There are many people who would laugh at the math in the video I reference above, but agree in principle with the idea that cash offers should always contain high value. They should, in general, strive to wow purchasers, but that's extremely bad for the long-term health of the game. There are games in which the vast majority of spending is induced by high-value offers. The economics of those games operate similarly to how people here on the forums try to describe as Business 101 or Economics 101. Cash offers should contain value at least as high as the cash itself is worth. There should be incentives to buy more, such as volume discounting, stuff like that, which there's not really currently in this game. There are games like that, almost all of them in Asia. Practically none of them are in the US or Western countries in general. Why? Because in Asia, games as a service have culturally revolved around spending in the game as a mirror of spending in real life. Spending is a form of status. There's no stigma around paying to win. If you paid to win, it's because you have enough money to buy it. I will say a lot of people charged their credit cards that don't have enough money to buy it. I've had people, I need to do a better job of covering that argument on my channel probably this week, who have contacted me saying, Prof, I have a gambling addiction and I can't afford this and I'm still buying. Help me. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. But it's also the pressure to keep up, you know? It's a matter of pride to spend and spend efficiently on most valuable possible. Spending doesn't replace skill. Spending is the skill. However, that's culturally unacceptable in general in the U.S. and other Western countries. Here, there's a stigma to paying to win. Here in the U.S., for example, paying to win is almost seen like being a trust baby. You aren't your account. You're like the parent of your account. You didn't pay to win. You paid for your child to win. And that's different. This is almost feeling political. It's almost seen like cheating. Your account didn't win. Its parents paid for it to win. This tension between deserving what you can buy and wanting gameplay to earn its own victories is the gray area where free-to-play monetization in Western game lives. We want to believe that a free-to-play player can succeed, but we all want our personal spending to count. This has to be balanced for a game to succeed. If cash becomes too valuable, if spending becomes too powerful, the economy breaks and the game breaks with it. Spenders must be allowed to believe their spending matters or they won't spend. Non-spenders must be allowed to believe that non-spending doesn't doom them or they won't play, and most spenders come from the ranks of the non-spenders. Lose them and you eventually lose somebody. So no, spending cannot consistently wow spenders. Sometimes it has to keep spenders engaged. That's why we have Cyber Weekend. Most of the time it can't. That's why we have most of the other days. Offers generally have to have mathematical sane values. There's some subjectivity to that, but in general, most offers have to be nominally low value relative to the price, although that's not true with the new daily special, because most offers are designed to see what the minimum value necessary to get someone to spend is. Some have nominally reasonable value. Those offers tend to be those that encourage people to spend regularly, so they need sustained value, and some have blockbuster value because sometimes spending has to be exciting to keep spenders engaged. Different offers have different values because they fundamentally need to address different needs, but in general, we should not be comparing individual items to the price of the offer in total. In mathematical terms, that's nonsensical. In subjective terms, that's dangerous. To reiterate, this is about the idea, not the promoter of the idea. The idea is a worthy subject of dissection and criticism. I'm not criticizing the fact that the presenter presented their idea. They have every right to present their honest opinion. However, when that position fails to hold up, I believe it is a fair game to take the position apart, which I've probably done to the needlessly lengthy degree, but that's what the N stands for, needlessly lengthy. If anyone feels the need to personally attack anyone, attack me for wasting your valuable time. Don't attack the content creator I reference. Attack the idea all you want because, in my opinion, it is wrong. That's where any discussion should begin and end. Well, first off, you made a lot of really good points. And I need to do a better job on my channel of not making things feel emotional and also discussing, let's pull up the offer in question now. Discussing the bonus value of items that, for example, are, to me, a throw-in. These 2 Tier 5 Basic and these 6 Tier 2 Alpha, to me, really don't even have a $2.50 per value. They have a free value. Because Kabam could justifiably charge $30 for a 50% Tier 5 Class Catalyst Fragment Selector, and I think that would be, for a lot of players, worth $30. It's certainly worth a lot more than gamble crystals. What I love about this kind of offer is that everything is guaranteed value. There's no RNG involved. And I know that's part of what makes the game exciting, these Nexus gamble crystals like the Cavalier Daily Special. Now, my whole point with the math, and he didn't reference it in the post, but this was why I put that in the title, is that This was a much better value before the daily special, because if you buy 6 days worth of daily specials for $30, and look, I get you have to wait 6 days and you don't get the instant value and gratification of this offer now, which might be worth the money to people by itself. You get 60% of a Tier 5 Class Catalyst Fragment Selector, because you get 6 days of 10% Tier 5 Class Catalyst Fragment Selectors. Plus, you kind of trade in the Tier 2 Alpha and the Tier 5 Basic, though not the fully formed version, for very still rare Tier 6 Basic and Tier 3 Alpha Catalyst Fragments, which are on the daily specials Monday through Saturday. Plus, of course, the Nexus Crystal for that specific class that day. Plus the added value of the Tier 2 Alpha and the Tier 5 Basic. That's why, to me, the math was a bit ridiculous, because this feels like something that you would see before the daily special, which I feel like is an A+++ value, best $5 you could spend per day, and I bought it almost every day but one when it came into the game. That was my whole point, and the daily special comparison wasn't referenced in the post. If you take away the daily special argument, I was wrong. This is worth more than $30, especially because Tier 5 Basic and Tier 2 Alpha are, by all means, still rare items that you can get limited places even for units, especially if you're spending cash on units in the Catalyst store. I need to do a better job of clarifying this, and DNA3000 made a lot of excellent points. This is maybe the longest video I've posted in a couple months, but I wanted to read the whole post, and even then I felt like I was speed reading, so sorry if you have to slow down the speed. DNA3000, I want to thank you for your mature post. You worded it wonderfully. I can't imagine how much time you spent on it. And I think that you spent the time on it because you know that it's easy for people to just roll their eyes when they see my name, or to think that I'm too emotional. And maybe sometimes I am. Maybe I was yesterday. But I want to keep improving as a content creator. I want to be able to admit when I'm wrong, and I want to be able to learn from my mistakes. And I think you're helping me do just that. Now, here's the key. If I don't show that in future offer videos, then I've wasted everybody's time. So my goal is to continue to grow, and maybe the videos will have to be 2 or 3 minutes longer for me to really dive into some of this math, but that's what the community deserves. And I try to keep things short and sweet because, honestly, my self-esteem sometimes can be a little low when it comes to thinking that people should have to listen to me talk for more than 5 minutes. But at the same time, if I'm hurting the community by not doing a full enough job of reasoning or just getting the math wrong, then it doesn't matter how short or long the video is. The video isn't up to the quality standard that the community deserves or that I should be putting out. Thank you again for the post, DNA3000, and I appreciate everybody that watched this video.